Hey everyone, DPK here, MMA Quick Hit. Gonna talk real quick about the flyweight division. You got its first champion, Demetrius Johnson, and a lot of controversy and uh, going around, a lot of discussion today across websites about can the flyweights sell? I mean, are these guys interested? First off, I'd say Demetrius Johnson just at the press conference after UFC 152 has already cost himself hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. He pretty much got the one question I remember him getting asked. His answer was a real quiet, understanding, I guess. I mean, here's a guy trying to sell himself to the fans. It's obvious at this point, unless you have a brutal Anderson Silva like highlight reel, um, that if you can't talk, if you don't have the personality, if you're not out there, if you're not finishing fights, people, I mean, who cares about it? Nobody's buying you. You're getting the 200,000, 250,000 pay-per-view buy hardcore fan minimum. All your pay-per-views need to be helped out. You're not going to be making the big money that the other champs are, and people aren't going to give you the respect that the other champs are. Guys like John Jones who can get on ESPN and talk, has an interest story, finishes almost all his fights. Guys like Anderson Silva just crushes the opposition. Make up for his lack of smack talk and all of that. Chael Sonnen's got himself where he's labeled a top five pay-per-view draw by the UFC. Said that, and why? The guy's not that good. He doesn't even finish his fights, but he freaking gets out there and he works the microphone and he gets people to give a shit about when he's fighting. And Demetrius Johnson just failed miserably. I mean, at his first introduction to being a potential star and a potential pay-per-view headliner, or even a Fox headliner, or FX headliner. I mean, this guy got to give the PR guys something to work with. I mean, you're the best flyweight in the world. Come on, I know your personality is to be a nice, quiet guy, but okay, man, you gotta kind of make the life decision now. Do you wanna make the money that well, you can live a nice life for the time you're fighting, or do you wanna step up and you wanna earn the money where you can retire the day you're done fighting and sit back and relax? He's not a you look at Demetrius Johnson here. He's not really a finisher. He hasn't finished many fights in his MMA career, but he's been fighting at 135, and his fights at flyweight have been against the absolute two and three best guys in the world. So you can't really expect him to finish those fights. I mean, when he's facing tough opposition, he's facing much bigger opposition. Finishing the fight's just going to be difficult for him. I have a feeling that we may see him start to pick up some finishes when he gets into some more meat of a shallow flyweight division. There will be opportunities for him to stop fights, but he doesn't have that Jose Aldo one punch, one kick, one knee to the head KO highlight reel. He's not. Even GSP can go back into his highlight reel and you can see stuff the the Matt Hughes fight where he kicked him in the head, and it was absolutely beautiful, picture perfect. Hughes ate it and was done. Moment. I mean, John Jones has his systematic beating of Shogun to go back on. I mean, there you need, if you don't have those highlight reel moments, you need to know, um, be able to talk and make people care. I mean, I already said, Chael Sonnen doesn't finish people, but people care and they watch. Michael Bisping doesn't finish a lot of people, but people care and they watch because these guys open up, they talk, they they get after selling themselves. I know a lot of people think, oh, it's just these smaller guys, they can't sell, but if you look at who the champions have been, it's been Edgar, Aldo, Cruz, and now Johnson. Um, these guys are quiet. I mean, Aldo, I think he has some bit of a personality, but in Portuguese. He appeals to the Brazilian audience. The most lucrative market for UFC is the North American audience. I think he will overcome that just because he has the brutal highlight reel. Anderson Silva, but he's still young in his career and he's always injured. He's pulled off of 4 cards now. He just can't build the momentum that he needs to keep it going after he has a brutal KO, a brutal fight where he just beats somebody up. I still think it will come, but he needs to stay healthy. Edgar, I mean, just never had the outgoing personality, the quiet demeanor thing. There's something for it, but if you aren't finishing the fights, if you aren't destroying people, no, who cares? I mean, Cruz, the same thing. Kind of he gets into it with Faber a little bit, but that's it. And he's not finishing the fights. And now Johnson's more along the same lines. I have big hopes for Ben Henderson. He's got a look to him that's kind of stands out. He can talk, but has seemed very tame. I'm hoping Nate Diaz brings something out of him that where he can really catch on and they can get something going and really drive it up because he's a great fighter. If Nate Diaz wins that fight, I see much bigger things for Nate than any of the other champions at 155 and below. And I just don't buy it that people talk about, hey, these they're too small. Nobody gives a crap. Let me just, I took 5 minutes. I wrote these down. List of boxers under 155. Actually, I'm gonna go 160 pounds that people care about. You got Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Oscar De La Hoya, Shane Mosley, Miguel Cotto, Felix Trinidad, Julio Cesar Chavez, Jr. and Sr., Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Thomas Hearns, Eric Morales, Marco Antonio Barrera, Prince Nassim Hamed was 122 or 126 pounder, um, Pernell Whitaker, Marvin Hagler, Bernard Hopkins. I mean, Alvarez today is fighting there. You got so much talent that people care about. They make people care, and they pack arenas. And a lot of these guys sold a ton of pay-per-views, even though a couple of those names I listed were at the very beginning of pay-per-view. But they sold a ton of pay-per-views between De La Hoya, Trinidad, Mayweather, Pacquiao. These guys made bank. And why? Because they have personalities. People cared when they fought. And that's what the small guys in UFC are lacking right now. They need to make people give a shit. And it's like, hey, Demetrius Johnson's fighting. That guy is awesome. Need a little more of the mighty and a lot less of the mouse from his nickname, play off his nickname, Mighty Mouse there. I mean, come out, talk some smack. As soon as he finds out who's his next opponent is, it Juicy De Silva or if it's John Dodson, get your name out in the freaking press. Do an interview with Steph Daniels. Get get on Share Dog Radio. Get anywhere. Tell everybody how you're gonna run right through that guy. How you're gonna smack him around because you're the best damn flyweight in the world, and then go out and back it up and try to finish the damn fight. Johnson's so fast. He's in great positions all the time, but he still looks more like he's looking to control sometimes. He doesn't have that killer instinct that some great finishers have. I mean, like all the pretty much boils down to it's all these lightweight guys. I mean, Dana White would be smart to pull them in. Johnson, Cruz, um, Bendo, freaking Frankie Edgar, Jose Aldo, and just run it. Say, hey, here's why people care about Michael Bisping. Here's why people care about Chael Sonnen. Here's why people care about Ronda freaking Rousey, a women's MMA. It's not just because she's good looking and great fighter. It's because she freaking talks. She's out there. People want to put her on Conan O'Brien. People want to see her on a talk show. They want to interview her. They want to see what's going to come out of her mouth next. They're all very. They make people, like I said, give a damn when they're not finishing the fights and putting on the highlight reel. So I mean, it's kind of my take. I just think these guys, the quiet